Welcome everybody to the live stream. Pardon my delay. I got terribly delayed talking about cosmology with somebody who knows what he's talking about. A guy by the name of Eugene Bagashov, and this is a YouTube exclusive live stream, by the way. Thanks everybody who tuned in, whether you viewed live or you viewed Memorex. Sorry, not to plug Memorex. We're not paid to say that. Here at the Smash News Network, we're primarily paid by our patrons. And by the way, if you've got a comment, leave us one in the comments window. We'll get back to you, especially if you're viewing live. And even if you're not viewing live, we will still read all of your comments. So allow me to stop screen sharing, because who knows what horrifying things could be viewed on my computer. And I just start talking about you, you cheap Chinese plastic virus, you. You're so cute. What's this? You've become UV resistant. Oh my God. Now we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. I don't usually write songs when I'm doing these live streams, but we're all gonna die now. Gonna die. We're gonna die. Are you gonna die? I'm gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. You're gonna die. Alright, now that I got that out of my system. Are you scared and spooked? I don't know why you'd be scared and spooked, but basically it's my new hairdo. What do you think? It's my COVID-19 fro. Sadly, I can't headbang with it. What do you think, COVID? You like it? Why not? Oh, I'm cramping your style. Gee, well, sorry. Not all of us are able to control the entire population of the planet, are we? Oh, poor me. I can't control the population of the whole planet. Does that make you sad, folks? Are you just practically in tears because you're unable to control the population of the entire planet? Is that making you mad? Because, you know, here at the Least Busted Name in News, we try not to be hack frauds, for example. Yeah, hack frauds. We may have to invite you to some Facebook groups and to, I don't know, follow us on Twitter. You may like that. Pardon the biting sarcasm. I won't say any curse words today, except the ones that I say. Got insight? Can't fight? Only got illusions? Are you a paper tiger? Oh, I can't control the world's population. Oh. I want to be responsible for what every person does all the time. What's that? You wanted to give somebody a hug? What do you think, COVID? COVID says COVID doesn't give hugs. COVID just replicates. Now, I've got a hazmat suit sitting right here, you know, because that's how scared and spooked I am. You see that? Oh my God. Oh my God, I have a hazmat suit just in case I've got to go outside. You know, I go riding my bike. Ooh, I was thinking about going bike riding, but I better put on a hazmat suit. We've got an astronaut suit on order, by the way, viewers. So cheers. This is not shtick. This is stuff that I think about and talk about in RL. And to quote FPS Doug, shout out to FPS Doug, the Canadian video gamer featured on the fantastic Canadian sitcom Pure Ownage. To quote FPS Doug, I heard there are no respawn points in RL. I can't control the world's population or respawn. I can't clone myself. Oh, COVID is so powerful and smart. COVID. Let us go to your church, COVID. Oh, get you go. Get you. COVID, you're so cute and baited, Jada. Are you baited? COVID, are you baited, Jada? Jada. Are you baited, Jada? Are you made out of origami? Are you a floating luminary? All right, what are we doing here? All right. Yes, so please, everybody, leave us comments and let us know what you'd like us to talk about today before we go on a news crawl. We're going to go on a news crawl. And we're going to go on a news crawl during this YouTube exclusive. Yes, it's a YouTube exclusive, folks. And we're going to talk about all kinds of news stories. Starting with, oh my God, it's Santa. Now, this is not a person on a respirator, if you were wondering. It's some old dude with a beard. Apparently it's Santa. For goodness sakes. You better not cough. Don't take the mask off. You'll hear stupid rules and then you will scoff. Santa Claus is dying with COVID. So wear a mask at home and check it twice. 'Cause when he comes down the chimney, he might end up dead. Santa Claus is dying of COVID. He's an omnipresent spirit of giving at Christmas. I hope you wear your mask at home or he might just end up dead. Because COVID lives on surfaces and you don't want Santa Claus to be dead. Santa Claus might be dying from COVID. Cheers! Merry Christmas to all of our viewers. Yay! What have you asked for Christmas? An astronaut suit? Just in case the sun explodes and blows the Earth's atmosphere off, maybe you should get an astronaut suit and a whole lot of oxygen tanks and a whole lot of batteries to keep your astronaut suit charged up so you can survive the next 15 million years until oxygen gets replenished on the planet. Right? Yeah. There's 15 million years worth of oxygen in those tanks. You'll be all good. You'll be all good. Don't worry, folks. Everything will be just fine. Just fine. COVID came. COVID saw. We died. All right. Ah, yes. And that is what caffeine will do, folks. Ah, yes. I'm not kidding about this article, by the way. You think I'm kidding, don't you? All right, let me get everything. Smash staff, get this. COVID, could you please? Thank you. I'll put it. Should I put it on the screen? All right, I'll put it on the screen. There you go. All right, are you happy? It's a report from Summit News. The National Health Service of the UK has terrified children by showing a video of a dying Santa Claus. They're frightening the children because gaslighting kids is fine. They hope you've invested in pharmaceutical stocks because if not, you might not be slime. So you better inflate how the stuff is reported. You better not allow anyone to retort it. A bunch of propaganda's coming to your town. Yay! No, we're not putting out propaganda. We're talking about propaganda, see? Don't get them confused now. By the way, for some reason, Eugene hung up on me. What is up with that? I mean, I don't know what's going on with it. And let's see what comments we've got here. We don't always sing Christmas carols on the live streams, but sometimes we get inspired and we write them live before your very eyes. Yes. Yes. Santa Claus is dying of COVID. He sees you when he's on a respirator. He's probably not awake because you have to be put into a medical coma to be on a respirator, or you'll rip it out for goodness sake. What other kind of news stories are you reading? I like this one. This is my jam right here. All right, so let me see if I can find any other interesting things to talk about. All right, fine. COVID's being a real ham today, so we're just gonna let you hang out, COVID. All right. Oh, COVID. I'd eat a spoonful of you if it was socially acceptable. Let's see what else is going on. Is your town on fire? What? Your town's not on fire anymore? Oh, Trump lost the election. I see. Are you expecting the year 2021 to be a year of accountability, folks? Is that is that something that's on your radar? I'm not going to show any data about how effective masks are at preventing the transmission and spread of COVID-19. I'm not going to put up anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to usatoday.com because I heard it's a very trusted name in news. A rusted name in news. It's a dusted name in news? Aw, man. Please leave a comment and let us know what your most busted name in news is. And I can't even load a web page. I hope the stream is still functioning, but I can't load a web page. I said I can't load a web page. All right, leave us a comment if you want me to call Eugene Bagashov on Skype, because I'm going to. If our viewers want me to call Eugene on Skype, I'm going to call Eugene on Skype during the live stream, just to sing my new song that I wrote about Santa Claus is dying of COVID. He loves freaking England and Scotland and Wales. He hopes that meteors don't rain from space or 16-inch diameter hail. So you better not die, you better wear a mask, you better not shout, and you better not cry, or Santa might be dying of COVID. It's good times, folks. Good times. There you go. Oopsies. Oh, it seems the internet is mysteriously working again. I don't know what's up with it. So, what else do we have as far as comments here? And I'll put them on the screen momentarily. I just want to see if anything will load. I don't know. I think the browser is shattered, and I'm not going to mess with it because it might shut down the stream, because the stream is being hosted via a browser window. All right, so let me just bring up Skype here, and I'm going to just call Eugene, since he just goes AFK while I'm ranting about cosmic ray flux. This'll teach you. This'll teach you. All right, just bear with me one moment, folks, while that loads up. It might take a half an hour. I'm hoping not. Come on, Microsloth. I know you can do it. Yay! COVID, give me privacy. There we go. Take that, COVID. If it were only that easy to get rid of COVID. See? See what I mean? All right. How you like that, COVID? Not too much. Not too much, do ya? Do ya? Viewers, I think we may have a fire-resistant COVID strain here. You liking that, COVID? What's that? You're fire-resistant, cheap Chinese plastic from China. Oh my gosh. It's cheap Chinese plastic from China. 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 By the way, if you don't know how to say China, say it out of the top of your face, not from deep within your loins. Don't say it from deep within your loins. Say it out of the top of your face. China. China. All right. Calling Eugene Bagashov. See what happens. We're not putting him on video. Wait for it. Wait for it. And say China.
Hey.
Hey, Eugene, I'm calling from China. We're on a live stream. What's going on? China.
China? What the hell
Yeah,
is this?
China. CH. You say it out of the top of your face, like Trump, like if you had sinusitis. Imagine Trump with a nasal infection. China. China.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably say it. China. Anyway, we're not just calling you to do lessons. We wanted you to join us on the live stream. I was singing Christmas carols, such as Santa Claus is dying of COVID. He won't be seen.
With macrophones.
Yes, thank you.
You know this thing?
I haven't seen that one. No, I haven't heard that.
Well, it's about.
What about macrophages? Deck the halls with macrophages. That might be fun too, eh?
It's the follies of macroeconomists, such as Karl Marx.
Oh.
John Maynard Keynes.
Oh yeah. Good old inflation. Inflation for the boys.
Yeah.
The boy. Let's see. Inflated cash, fiat currency, the value went away. Oh, what fun it is to bring a wheelbarrow for a bale of hay. Oh,
Yeah.
how come your money is now more valuable to use as firewood? Because it's a spooky grand solar minimum in your neighborhood.
Cool.
Dashing through the douche with an... Eugene, make sure you don't say anything not in line with the electric universe during this call, or we'll have to delete the live stream, okay? Now, this is a YouTube exclusive, so I would invite everybody to go subscribe to Eugene the Philosopher, as his studio probably isn't on fire like ours is. And he probably doesn't have a beach ball-sized COVID floating above his head either. Although he may be made in China, I'm not sure. Did your parents bang in China, by chance?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is this China?
You don't know what China is? It's just the most populous country in the world. What? Don't you know anything about geopolitics? China. China. You know, where the cheap Chinese COVID virus is made in China. China.
Yeah, and where billions and billions and billions of people live.
Uh-huh. Yes. How many billions?
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
They're hiding over 1 billion people underground too. Did you know that they've got actually like 3 billion people there? But the world thinks
they're digging a tunnel to the Earth's core. Destroy it.
they're using nothing more than their fingernails.
Yeah.
Human capital. Yes. Cheddar. It's like Jaws. It's gonna, to quote Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's like being showered with evil, only from underneath. Not really a shower, more a bidet, like a bidet of evil. It's very scary and spooky. It's made out of origami. All their buildings are made of origami in China, which means they can just...
It's Japan.
No. Cheddar. It's cheddar, okay? Cheddar. So yeah, make sure everybody goes over and subscribes to Eugene's YouTube channel. He just put out a new video last night about villages and cities, an indication that he's never been to a village, as Eugene is from Minsk.
Yeah.
We would invite you to visit a village one day, Eugene, and we hope that
I'm an urban chick.
we hope they don't try to limit. We hope they don't try to limit your choices, although they may force you to only make comments that are in line with the electric universe, if you know what I mean. Because you wouldn't want... Again, viewers, I would invite you to follow me on Twitter, as you may see exclusive content there, such as what it is I'm talking about.
So you may see it, or you may not.
Yeah, you may or you may not. So anyway, that story about Santa's dying of COVID, that's for real, by the way. That's a real story. The National Health Service of UK has put out a public service message, commercial type thing. Yeah, and it's about how Santa's gonna die of COVID. So.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. I mean, who cares about those pagan Santas?
Well, I mean, yeah, we can
Christian thing.
We can just use Google, Facebook, and Twitter to spy on our kids now. Who needs an omnipresent spirit of giving around at Christmas when you've got smartphones? Duh. What are you, a savage?
Isn't it weird, by the way, that Christmas, which is supposed to be like the main Christian holiday, you have pagan guys walking around, giving gifts.
Yeah, so, and putting a tree inside the house, that's some kind of pagan ritual too. It's like to extend summer or something, so it's green in the house or something like that. I don't know, some kind of nature worship thing.
Well,
why is it that parents,
this Yule tree kind of thing, right? Which is again like Germanic pagan-esque kind of thing.
By the way, for everybody who just tuned in, thanks for joining us, Eugene Bagashoff on Skype. Cheers. We've got a very busy background going on, Eugene. It's a mess. But I guess you can't really see this. I don't want to share a screen while I'm doing the live stream. But yeah.
You don't want us to know your favorite porn actresses?
Not exactly. Yeah, no. That's based on mood. So.
Or porn actors.
Yeah. So how's Minsk doing today? Has half of the city burned yet, and half of the population been hurled into gulags, or?
Well, we have plenty of people into gulag. I mean, since the beginning of August, there was at least 32,000 people detained for political reasons. So that's quite a lot.
Dag.
Yeah, and we have so far 150 plus political prisoners, sort of influential people who are still in jail.
150 plus are still in jail?
Yes, for their activism.
All they did is support a candidate?
Yeah, pretty much.
They didn't do a crime. They just supported a candidate.
Yes.
And yes.
Some people were riding on the pavement, slogans, etc., and they got in jail also recently for a couple of years.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, Americans! Communism's coming to your town. Just kidding, folks. I don't know why we're in this handbasket, though. I keep looking down and seeing this handbasket. Can anybody explain why we're in it? Seems very interesting. So what else is going on, Eugene? You got any Christmas plans? You gonna lock yourself in an underground bunker for a week?
No. Well, basically, like at my work, there's a lot of stuff to do currently, so I'm not even thinking about holidays yet. And see, we have this system of like 5-year plans, again, socialism. So
yay!
Currently it's the last year of the previous like 5-year sequence, so we have a lot of reports to make, a lot of paperwork, things like that.
So the government's going to, let me guess, do more things to make sure the economy is stimulated. They're going to say, hey, Eugene, go dig this hole. And then a week later, they're going to say, hey, Eugene, go fill in that hole. Don't worry, we're going to pay you. And it's going to stimulate the economy, baby. Woo! Yes, You're welcome, you goddamn ingrate. Sorry about breaking your leg. Here's a very, very overpriced set of crutches and a cast, which also stimulates the economy. You're welcome.
Yeah, pretty much this is what we do.
Ah, that sounds very European of you. Maybe it's turning into Greece.
Like GREASE.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, maybe this browser will actually work.
Keep it greasy because otherwise it's too painful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that a reference to the Canadian term greasy as meaning like corrupt?
I don't know. I thought they used maple syrup as a lubricant. No?
I'm not sure. Maybe we can get Neil Thompson on the line. Actually, I don't think he takes my calls since I called him a pearl-clutching pussy in public. Remember, folks, never say anything behind somebody's back that you wouldn't say to their face. It's one to grow on. It's a public service message here on the live stream. Let's get to our viewer comments here. Let's see if anybody's got anything interesting to say. And I'm sure they will, because our viewers are the epitome of interesting. That's not sarcasm, folks. Have you seen the new skin on Zero Hedge? All right, hold on. I'm going to seriously put your comments on the screen here. I just have to get a legit graphic on the screen. I don't just want to show anything. I want to put the YouTube page up because this is a YouTube exclusive. All right. I think we're good. All right, COVID, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. There we go. That's better. I think that's good. There we go. That's great. So thanks everybody for leaving comments. Be Stoic Primer says ahoy. Marion Lewis, thanks for tuning in. Carl Wall from Oklahoma. Be Stoic Primer says, they covered the Luciferian vaccine and I found and sent you already. Well, thanks very much. I'm very worried about the supernaturalness of the vaccine. Eugene, what do you say? Is it Satan's vaccine?
Why would Satan need a vaccine?
To turn you into Satan or something like that, probably. Let's see. He says COVID-19 vaccine reportedly contains compound called luciferin, which was processed in 66.6 milliliter solution. I found this patent like 2 weeks ago. Well, maybe that's why you've become so rich, because you knew where to invest and leverage your funds. Good job, Be Stoic. I think this is people reacting to my Christmas carol at the beginning. I'm not sure what the lyrics were, but we may have to do a remake of that one. Oh man, okay. So thanks everybody for leaving comments once again. And what do we have here? What else do we have? Nabo J says, wake and bake PMF. Be Stoic.
PMF?
I don't know.
It's like PMS, but premenstrual
faggotry, perhaps. Rumor has it F-16 went down in Michigan, China related. Oh man, China's down in F-16s now. Beware Wisconsin National Guard. Oh, I mean, I thought it was Wisconsin. Anyway,
it was
beware.
Probably hit by cosmic ray.
No. It was a Birkeland current. A Birkeland current connected directly from the engine through the pilot's brain into the Earth's core and then to the solar South Pole. And the guy's now a superhero. He just ejected and flew away into space.
Well, there's not enough delta V on this seat, but whatever.
He's like, I don't need this plane anymore. I'm just gonna fly on my own, like Thanos or something like that.
Fair enough.
I do mispronounce Wisconsin on purpose. Yes, because of the accent of that portion of the state. I'm a fan of Babe Winkleman, famed walleye fisherman. Eugene, have you ever gone fishing for walleye?
I think I've only gone fishing a couple of times in my life.
You think you have?
And I was like very, very little. Like I was like 10 years old.
And that's why you don't know anything about villages, because the fishing sucks in the city.
Exactly. Well, I already told you I'm an urban chick. So.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
Those stupid hillbilly shacks and stuff.
So, Nay, did the pilot of that F-16 that went down, did he actually, did he eject? What happened? Did he crash with the plane? What went on? I heard there was a search for him. Did he end up ejecting and landing in a lake or something like that? That would be pretty unhealthful, I would imagine. But I don't know exactly how that happened. So no one in Wisconsin pronounces it like I do? All right. I'll stop mispronouncing Wisconsin.
There were a couple of occasions, I think, in Europe, like maybe in Netherlands or Germany, when F-16s, I think, were like, I don't even know how to explain it, but basically they shoot their cannons, right? And they were hit by their own bullets because they were flying faster than the bullets were. So the plane got destroyed by some.
Yeah. So an F-16 has a 30 millimeter rotary gun, a Vulcan cannon on it, and maybe that's why those A-10s are so slow, huh? Yeah, maybe
Actually makes sense.
Maybe flying at 1,500 miles per hour isn't the best idea when firing a cannon. Might not be a good idea.
If you look at A-10 cannon, it's like, I don't know, it's like a whole room. The size of a whole room. I mean, it's huge.
It's called the GAU-8 Avenger, and that particular cannon is so big and heavy that the airframe was built around the cannon, and it has to be offset so that it's in the right position when the cannon fires, or it'll act like a rudder on the front of the plane. It'll affect the flight path of the plane, so it's like offset so that the barrel is firing in the correct position, because it'll adversely affect flight characteristics otherwise. It is a very, very ridiculous gun, and it is different than the one on the F-16. It's a 10 millimeter larger round also. So yeah, that is one hell. The GAU-8 Avenger is one hell of a shocking gun. It's pretty much
although I'm not sure, but I mean, there's AC-130 gunship, which is like a huge plane with a huge gun sticking out of its side. But I'm not even sure if that's bigger than the A-10.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. I'll look it up. The GAU-8 Avenger. It's GAU-8. It weighs about as much as a Neon. It's like I think it's about a 2,000 pound. Oh, I stand corrected. It's 30 millimeters. So then the one on the F-16 is only a 20 millimeter, I think. I apologize. So it's mounted slightly to the port side, so the active firing cannon barrel is at the 9 o'clock position, And so on the aircraft's center line, for that reason of flight characteristics, its rate of fire is 3,900 RPMs. And it's variable. Who knew? And the muzzle velocity is 3,324 feet per second. So that's faster than most sniper rifles. And in fact, when you're on the ground, the rounds show up long before the sound does. So don't run, you'll just die tired. Pretty much no armored vehicle will survive it. It'll even destroy, like, US tanks promptly. Yeah, the A-10 is not something you want to see rolling in on your position. If you're if you're the Taliban, going in the basement is not going to solve the problem, because those rounds are depleted uranium rounds. They don't just stop because of stone walls and things. And indeed, the A-10 was actually designed to prevent a large artillery war in Europe because of the Russians at the time of the Cold War, actually. A thing very unlikely to happen nowadays, as most people agree that you would have a cyber war long before any sort of, long before, if not instead of any sort of physical warfare. How about the GAU-8 Avenger? I'll put it on screen. I think I'll put it on screen. There you go. There's the GAU-8 Avenger. And there's the round next to a 30-06 round. It's insane. All right, so I think it's about time to end this live stream. What do you say? Any comments from anybody? Anything else you'd like us to talk about? I think we've done... Oh, solid lipid nanoparticles synthetically made for use in RNA immunizations. Nope, not aware of that. What about you, Eugene?
I haven't heard anything about this.
Solid lipid nanoparticles synthetically made for use in mRNA immunizations.
There were, like, it was sort of like an urban legend about, like, a bullet made of some, like, almost fat or something like that. So the idea was that you kind of shoot it and the guy dies, but then the bullet is never found because it kind of dissolves, sort of.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like myths like that. Like ice bullets is one of them. I think they tested that one out on Mythbusters.
Sort of like that, yeah.
There's probably some material you'd be able to make that does something, you know, maybe create a chemical reaction so the bullet like has essentially a chemical fuse inside it that dissolves the chemicals that the shell is made of, or something like that. Could be a thing. Yeah, weapons discussion. Not something you hear every day on the YouTube exclusive smAsho streams. Here, part of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Hey, we're almost at 1,700 subs. Did you gain any subs last night, Eugene, when we tried to advertise you?
There actually was one, yeah.
Oh, geez, we were as effective as your Reddit campaign. I thought there'd be a little more than that, but I think you're at like 50 views on that one, right?
Well, if I was like a young hot chick, I would have already like 100,000 probably.
Well, if you show some cleavage once in a while, maybe, but perhaps do some cross-dressing and show some cleavage.
Well, that actually makes some sense. I'll think about it.
All right, so what else do we have here? Yeah, I don't know anything about lipid nanoparticles in mRNA immunizations. I do know one thing, that I won't be getting a vaccine, because not only have I recently demonstrated fairly extremely adverse reaction just to plastic in the masks, but also I have a lifelong allergy to heavy metals. So, sorry, no vaccine for me. Huh. Too bad.
Black Sabbath.
I'm very disappointed. Yeah. I'm very disappointed, folks. I mean, you know, pray for me. Pray for me and my fledgling immune system. I became a pro mountain biker in 1999, and I would dive into a pool of virus back then. Never got sick. Cheers. But sorry, no vaccine for me. I've found a way out. Have you? Perhaps join some obscure religion that doesn't allow messing around and doing things like taking medicine. Ooh, I'm gonna take medicine. Nope, it's against our religion. Sorry. Yeah, I love certain metal, Slayer and all kinds of. I have vast musical tastes. I even listen to a band called Lucifer. What else is going on, folks? Any other news stories you'd like us to talk about? Let's see if we can get to zero hedge now on the browser that I would prefer to use. Perhaps it's come back from its failage. Let's see what the
recently posted, maybe yesterday or the day before, something about solar cycles. Actually, like there was on zero hedge. I mean, there was an article about some study which supposed that this new cycle is going to be like super strong.
Oh yeah, and it didn't say anything at all about why it was expecting it to be super strong. It didn't say like we've studied it.
Obviously they've done some like statistical analysis and like weird Fourier transformations, and so it follows from that.
I guess, but they should have probably said something about it in the articles, because I read 2 of them and then I just started saying it's clickbait because they're not telling us what their reasoning is.
Well, again, during my discussion, or like, in air quotes, discussion with Ben Davidson via email, I've actually sent to him a paper about the predictions of cycle 24, the previous one. Like there was a meta-analysis done, like what were the predictions and what kind of cycle we actually got. So the paper said that there were, probably 1,000, or maybe at least a few hundred of those predictions made, like in published papers, and they ranged basically from 0 to unprecedented levels of activity, and only like something in the middle played out, So,
yeah. I mean, that there's been, for example, the Zarkova papers, and for the viewers who don't know what we're talking about here, Valentina Zarkova is one of the authors of scientific papers that grand solar minimum folks cite as the reason why the sun's going to shut down and you're all going to die. It's because the solar polar fields are going to go out of phase and cancel each other out, and the sun's going to go into an extended period of low levels of activity.
Yeah, that's new level of cancel culture.
And
solar fields are canceled by Twitter.
And so in her case, at least we were able to see the work there. And that's the reason I've been on Facebook saying that those articles are clickbait, because I don't see any reference to what they're using. Zarkova was using the solar polar fields and an analysis of magnetohydrodynamics to come up with that. And, that paper about how the sun is going to be at the highest level ever. Like I don't just randomly say a thing is clickbait and not supported by anything. It's because I looked for it. I read the articles. I didn't see anything. I said it's clickbait because, these news sources, they have a vested interest in getting you to click on their website. So it's, follow the money, right?
Yeah, I think the new cycle would be a little bit weaker than the previous, but mostly the same. Like maybe 90% of cycle 24.
Interesting.
Like
yeah, it's come up awfully quickly, and that doesn't do anything for the forecasting value of it. I think perhaps magnetohydrodynamics are a good way to forecast it, but you still have to take into the consideration that there may be some variables that are not figured in, and I don't want to give anything away about what Eugene and I were talking about earlier, because we want to get at least some evidence of some emerging theories that At least a couple
people
are
was
talking.
thinking recently, like again, there's this discussion on Thunderbolt's project forum about the solar, like how the possibility that the sun is powered externally, and I was thinking about making some sort of again meta-analysis of possibilities, like what can we think of as alternative theories for the sun.
Yeah,
and that might be an interesting sort of the way I see it, it would actually not be like I don't know, a research in itself, but rather, well, somebody just has to, put things on proper shelves, so to speak, to delineate different possibilities to say, okay, we can have a cathode sun, we can have an anode sun, we can have a wire of Birkeland current or whatever powered sun, we can have internally powered sun, we can have blah blah blah. So all those things should be systematized or something.
Yeah, I agree. And again, if we can see signals if we can see signals in other data that relate to those theories, that's kind of to tease the viewers. That's sort of what I'm talking about. I don't want to say too much besides that, but yeah, it's if we can find certain signals, folks, we may explain the solar cycles for you. How's that? That should be good enough of a teaser. I think if we explain the solar cycles, that'll be kind of serious. What do you think, Eugene?
Well, what I think is it's very funny that actually. For example, the anode sun and whatever the people at that Sapphire project are thinking about the sun, it doesn't have solar cycles at all. It's very funny.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that the sun is an electrically powered. It seems like if this electric sun model was legit, the sun would be way too inconsistent in order to support life on our planet. In other words, you'd be dead. You wouldn't have been alive in the first place, in my opinion, if the sun was electric. It's one of the many reasons why I don't think the sun or stars are, quote, at least not fundamentally electric. The stuff going on in the surface certainly features Birkeland currents and certainly features electron flux and so on, but I don't think stars are electric. I don't think they're formed that way.
Well, I'm actually quite surprised, like how weak of a case they make for the electric sun. I mean, there's plenty of possibilities that I can see which nobody talks about. Like, for example, you might say, well, there's a question like, where is this extra electrons coming towards the sun if it's an anode? Like, why don't we detect them? Well, people can say, well, for example, just one example, like plasma like tends to form, filaments and stuff. So
absolutely,
maybe it's those subtle filaments here and there that drive electrons towards the sun, and there are filaments that drive protons towards the sun, so the charge is balanced in the end. And it's just like, we consider them as transient events, so we just assume that in general there's no flow. But you might just as well argue, well, there's this small tube, like maybe 1,000 kilometers wide, where there's excess electron flux, and there's another tube 1,000 kilometers wide where there's excess proton flux.
Yeah, I agree. Blah, blah, blah. And if it's coming from any place, it's certainly coming from poloidal fields, which is why we made whole videos in our Cosmology Segments playlist about poloidal fields. And without having the visuals ready, we shouldn't get in depth into that. But maybe we should do a video about this, because you're exactly right. Because, for example, when we see outbursts from the sun and we see an increase in the protons, following that we see an increase in the electrons, why would that not be happening in the rest of space? And of course, that could explain sort of this externally powered theory of the sun to some degree, because you've got sort of particle beams, and then you've got sort of activity at the sites of these things, which, by the way, doesn't really make them electric. It it makes them, I guess you could say, it makes them electronic. But it's not really the same thing. Anyway, I don't want to get it super in depth into this. Since this is a live stream, we typically talk about news and politics on these, as opposed to, and that is the subject of the. But still, it's very important, because if all of a sudden astrophysics, cosmology, heliophysics, and geology all get rewritten simultaneously, it affects news and politics. The implications on human technology would probably be there. What do you think, Eugene?
Well, I mean, if we would know how the sun works, that would definitely help us in many respects. I mean, who knows, maybe we can replicate something like that on Earth. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
I actually wanted to make a comment, but it's probably inappropriate since you've said that.
No?
Well, talk about. I wanted to make a comment about the nature of electric currents in space. Like, people in the electric universe, especially community, people say that usually they assume there's a charge separation and that it creates electric field and it drives current, right? But that's what is called a potential electric field. But it's shut down by plasma itself, and it doesn't work. And all the examples they give, there's no plasma screening of charges, because we see like super long Birkeland currents in Earth's magnetosphere, let's say. Well, the problem is those Birkeland currents in the magnetosphere are not potential. They're not driven by charge separation. They're driven by electric induction. And that's my point, that basically, if we are talking about astrophysical scale type of currents, we should look for electrical induction and not charge separation as a source of the electric field that would drive the current. So, and by the way, another thing people somehow ignore or just don't know about is that the sun, for example, is moving through the local interstellar plasma cloud, and there's a local interstellar magnetic field in this cloud. Therefore, the motion of the sun through this magnetized cloud produces electric field, like induced electric field, and it should drive some current. And somehow, I don't know, people don't talk about this.
Yeah, that's a problem with the and by the way, I was being sarcastic when I was saying don't say anything not in line with the electric universe. But for some reason, I don't hear people that are proponents of electric star models say what you just said, as if they either don't know that it's a thing, or they don't know that it backs up their hypothesis. And frankly, I'm not going to tell them, because it's like, I don't know, it's like, I liked what you were saying in your video about a certain very popular YouTube channel. You said the only thing to back it up is a bunch of hand waving. And look at these cool graphics, as if you don't understand the physics. And what's the point of explaining the phenomenon if you can't explain the physics behind it? Either stick to observations or stick to real, plausible explanations of the theoretical physics behind it, or don't talk about it, because it's gonna be nonsense, and you're gonna waste people's time and defame yourself.
Yeah, well, one of the papers that Ben actually sent me as a proof, in air quotes, of his model, in air quotes, of how sun can go nova, was a paper about two, I think, like a white dwarf and like a binary of two white dwarfs, or a white dwarf and a black hole moving at relativistic speeds around each other. So you consider this mechanism as plausible for the sun. I'm saying, like, are you mad? Like, there's no binary for the sun, at least anywhere close, and it's certainly not relativistic.
I know.
Like, what the hell? And the sun is not a white dwarf and not a black hole in the first place.
Right.
It's just pathetic.
Yeah, it's
not even pathetic. It's just sad.
It's as stupid as when people say Nibiru's floating around in the solar system. And I go, well, why don't we see it? Like the ones who don't say it's at Lagrange point 3 on the opposite side of the sun, the ones who say Nibiru is just floating around in the solar system. It's like they don't even know what occultation is. You know, viewers, people with backyard telescopes, what happens is they'll look through their backyard telescope at a certain star or a planet or something, and then something will move in between their telescope, and then they'll like have it on video, and they'll have sophisticated equipment telling them where their telescope was pointed, and then they'll find that object that was moving, and that's how people with backyard telescopes see asteroids. How the hell are you going to tell me there's an object the size of the Earth floating around in the solar system, but it's dark so we don't see it from Earth? Are you kidding me? It's absolutely, it's my favorite. I love when people say that. Nibiru, it's out there, it just doesn't emit any light. It's flat black, so it doesn't reflect or emit any light. It's a perfect absorber of light. It's a black body. It's like we'd still see it, cretin. That's how we see that's how we see asteroids.
Yeah, I thought you should say like Afro-American body. African-American. Whatever.
Condensed matter matters, Eugene.
Yeah, dark lives matter.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I'm not a newbie when it comes to making fun of WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, otherwise known as dark matter. I was making fun of WIMPs and calling the core of the Milky Way galaxy a massive radio source instead of a black hole in the mid-90s. So
I'm actually baffled no one so far supposed the existence of SIMPs, which is much more popular today. The strongly interacting massive particle.
I think we have SIMPs. They're called nucleons. No.
I mean, there's plenty of SIMPs clearly detectable on the channel of any, Twitch thought or whatever.
Are you making a pun? Are you making a pun? Strongly interactive massive particles. How about an electron? That would be a strongly interacting massive particle.
No, electron actually doesn't interact with the strong interaction. It only has weak electromagnetic and gravitational.
But when we're saying WIMPs are weakly interacting, we mean gravitationally weakly interacting.
No. It's what they mean is weak nuclear interaction.
Oh, they do. Okay.
So basically, the idea is that.
Oh yeah, because the word massive is the reference to gravity. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. So Dark Lives Matter. One of the candidates for Dark Lives Matter is the WIMP, and the idea behind it is. Okay, we kind of see, in air quotes, that it's interacting gravitationally, but maybe it can also interact through weak nuclear interaction, and at least that way we can detect it, right, through this weak interaction, and that's why we have all these, Xenon 100 experiments and things like that, because they're trying to catch any new weakly interacting particle, through weak interaction. That would be a possible candidate for Dark Lives Matter.
Yeah, except we can't find any anywhere.
Yes, at least so far.
Yep. So, but we've certainly got a lot of hydrogen out there, don't we, Eugene? There's an awful lot of hydrogen. It looks like every giant cloud of gas in cosmology seems to just have tons and tons of hydrogen because reasons.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny, in some respects at least, that we assume that stars are made of hydrogen, but who knows? We certainly detect hydrogen spectra, at least on the surface of stars, but who knows what they're made up inside, of. Like maybe it's only the surface is made of hydrogen.
Yeah.
Maybe there's made of iron or carbon or silicon or some unknown element yet.
Yeah, and we're in our infancy of understanding superionized anythings. A paper came out just this year about the theory that the outer gas giants may be made of superionized water, which is really weird. When you compress water to something, I think it's like 2 million atmospheres of pressure, it the oxygen forms into a cubical structure, a cubical lattice, similar to this lattice behind me, but not hexagonal, cubical. And the liquid metallic hydrogen just floats around inside there. It's very strange. It separates the water into oxygen and liquid metallic hydrogen.
That sounds like an awfully uncomfortable workplace for oxygen. If
2 million
metallic hydrogen is floating in your cubicle, you'd probably
you would react. If you could survive the pressure of 2 million atmospheres and be inside of that matrix of oxygen.
Yes, inside of the matrix, exactly, in your cubicle, receiving the call from Morpheus and down.
You better be Neo if you're around that liquid metallic hydrogen, because it's a little bit volatile, to say the least. If you were just hanging around that liquid metallic hydrogen, it would the electrons wouldn't be free for very long, would they, Eugene?
Yeah, liquid metallic hydrogen is ruining all the parties. It's not the best guy to hang around.
You start acting like the sun really quickly, and not for very long.
Well, as they say in Blade Runner, like a light that shines twice as bright shines like twice as short. That's the correct way.
And let's segue into a stern warning for our viewers. Remember, folks, if you see synchrotron radiation happening in Earth's atmosphere, make sure you get into a synchrotron shelter ASAP. Although you'll be blind, but maybe carry one of those blind guy sticks with you in case you see synchrotron radiation in the atmosphere, because you'll need to get to a synchrotron shelter immediately. I think that's accurate, right, Eugene? Yes. Cheers.
I actually think that even a blind guy can see synchrotron radiation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It would cause phosphenes, I guess, to happen. As long as he had a visual cortex of his brain, he'd be able to see the synchrotron radiation, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe that's the sign of the second coming or something, when you see synchrotron radiation.
If you see Squatterman in the sky, folks, it would be a weird day on Earth. There would be a Birkeland current involved, huh? Yeah, see what I did there? That's called a callback.
Yeah, well, if you see a squatting man in the sky, there's a high chance that he's gonna shit on you, so you should hide, definitely.
Yeah, that would be like getting shit on by liquid metallic hydrogen, almost. It would make for a bad day.
Although that would make a cool YouTube video.
That would make a cool YouTube video, yeah. If you had a camera that was able to...
YouTube poop video, it would go viral instantly.
You'd have to have a hell of a camera. You'd have to have some weird Faraday cage, isolated camera to be able to film your Squatterman poop scenario, right?
I'm sure Elon Musk has already created something like that.
Yeah, you're right. He probably has it. What about induction powered shielding, Eugene? What about creating some kind of shield where, the incoming radiation powers up the shield via the incoming radiation? Why not?
Good idea.
That's got to exist already. Somebody already has to, like the U.S. military probably already has that.
DARPA and...
I'll bet they have that. Yeah. It would make sense. I mean, take the energy from your Faraday cage and do something with it. It doesn't seem like rocket science. It's a little more complex than rocket science. Parabolas are not that hard to calculate. Synchrotron radiation. All right, so what else do we have here in the comments? We got to close this thing out. We're over an hour here, and it's I've got things I've got to do here, for goodness sakes, because you never know when the Smash News Network may light on fire again. And I've got to cook cheeseburgers and stuff like that. Ride a bicycle. By the way, shout out to my original cycling team, Scum Incorporated. Yes, if you're watching, Tom, cheers. We hope you found a new venue for your tattooing. And no, I still haven't gotten any tattoos. Cheers to Tom and Jody and Ron especially. Holla.
You don't have any tattoos?
No, I could have gotten...
That's kind of weird. Like when I was in the US, like almost like everyone had some, at least.
And I'm Generation X, I was born in 1976, so people my age have a hell of a lot of tattoos, man. Nope, I could have gotten all kinds of free work done when I was on the Scum Incorporated team, which the sponsor is the clothing manufacturer of a tattoo and piercing shop. So those guys are just the nicest guys. They're the scariest looking dudes. The scariest looking...
clothing deliberately to hide their horrible tattoos or something?
Well, it's... The art on the jersey is tattoo-inspired art. So you can see the cobra here. And you can't see it, but if you watch the video, then you'll be able to see it. And this devil woman. And then on the back, we've got a guy giving the finger. Because the back is the part of the jersey. The back is the part of my jersey that most riders tend to see. They spend a lot of time looking at the back and not a lot of time looking at any other part, often as I head down the road by myself. I am a breakaway specialist and a time trial specialist, so while it's tough for me to get down the road, when I do, they have a very hard time catching because my aerodynamics tend to be superior. So that's sort of in a nutshell, that's sort of what a time trial specialist is all about. When we do mass start races, if we're able to get a tiny gap, it becomes a disaster for the peloton very quickly. Yeah, so... All right, I guess I'm going to have to close this thing out. Eugene, thanks for stopping by unexpectedly. We just kind of called Eugene out of the blue. This was not planned. We were talking before I started the live stream, and he went AFK while I was ranting about Cygnus X3, and then and then I just figured I'd give him a ring while we were doing the stream. So yeah, cheers everybody. Thanks viewers for tuning in. Thanks Eugene for stopping by. Eugene, anything else?
No, I don't think so. Thank you for calling me.
Yeah, cheers. You've been delightful here on SNN, the Smash News Network, least busted name in news.
Yeah, have a good evening or whatever it is. Morning, I guess.
Yeah, whether you're viewing from Monday. Yeah, so we'll talk to you soon. And yeah, make sure you press like and subscribe. Go check out Eugene the Philosopher. That's with an ST. Philostopher, the Philosopher. An homage to Frank Zappa.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, later, everybody.